No
There's no
excuses.
excuses.
You're watching
Let's
the
go.
Michael
I
D
said, let's
show.
go.
You're
No
watching the Michael D
excuses,
show
man.
live with Michael D. This is Patrick Dumadog here, and look at this. This is your before picture, brother. And so proud of you. You had the stroke. You overcame the stroke. You've run hundreds of races. For those of you just now joining us, type into the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you've done a marathon. We're so glad you're here. Patrick, very inspirational. I got to mile 16 thinking it was mile 18. It was a total letdown. And sometimes in life, things happen that punch you in the gut, knock the wind out of you. You go divorce, a bankruptcy, you lose a child, things don't work out, you lose a business, you have a health issue, or your company goes out of business. What do you do in those moments? You reach for faith, you reach for hope, you create something beautiful. You go touch somebody's life and you change somebody's life. Speaking of New York, there's McGinna in New York City. 50,000 people crossed the finish line, some of them with no legs on Sunday. Patrick, you did it. It was such a joy to watch you. And I'm going to show the screen again because I forgot to hit the live button. So we're gonna see it one more time because everybody in the studio today, we got some amazing guests lined up here. We got some nonprofit founders, we got some election updaters, and we've got oh, that's beautiful, brother. I want one of those. And I committed. I'm coming next year. I didn't say I'm running next year, but next year I'm coming. And I'm going to send you a book, brother. I got a book for you, Patrick. It's called Miracles in Manhattan, brother. And this is what we published on the 20th anniversary. I'm going to give you and McGinna a copy of this. It's called Miracles in Manhattan, and it's 40 amazing miracles that happened that day on 9/11, and it's endorsed by Daryl Strawberry and some amazing other leaders in the world. And your story touches so many people. There were two young girls from Seattle that started to pass me that day. They were half my height. And you know what they said? They said, we ran a marathon yesterday. They started encouraging me. And they said, we ran a marathon yesterday in Arkansas. And 5 miles they ran with me. They encouraged me. I just want to say to you, if you've been knocked down, if you're in pain, if you're hurting, if you get a diagnosis, if you have a stroke, if you have health issues, you're overweight, if you determine in your mind and say, listen, what I'm experiencing now is not what I want to end up with. This is not the battle. I may have lost the battle, but I'm not going to lose this war. I was born for great things. I was reading this morning. I got up at 4 and I'm reading my things that I read. I was reading about this guy that died at 40. And everybody thought, oh, it's so sad because, he was praying to live longer. But his brother said, you know what? My brother told me when we were young, he used to always say to me, I'm never going to live past a day past 40. And he dropped dead at 39 and a half. And at 39 and a half, I realized I got things on my bucket list that I want to do. And one of them's run a marathon. I don't care if I have plans and I can't run the Oklahoma City bombing marathon with my friends. I'm going to go there and cheer them on, and I'm going to finish with them. At that point, it was just 3 months to the marathon. And I couldn't have done it without my running team running with me. So, Patrick, we want to thank you for sharing. I want to get a quick update. And I got to tell you, we got some movie updates for those of you. A lot of people have been asking. And for those of you who got a dog barking, just kind of mute out, bring you up and mute everybody today. But Patrick, do drop your link in or just retext the link to your Facebook to me so I can share it in the group here. So glad you could be with us today, brother. Thank you. To encourage us. There's something very inspirational and inspiring about being at the finish line when they're crossing on that marathon. It's just incredible. So we got Pastor Mark with us, and Pastor Mark Dunning was in Israel the day that Hamas and killed and murdered and butchered 1,400 innocent civilians, men, women, children, babies, and elderly. Mark, you gave us a report a couple weeks ago. You're in some of the same groups I am, following real-time journalists. In fact, we've invited Osnat back on from Tel Aviv to join us, and she'll be joining us here in a little bit. She's caught a flight out of Israel next week, but she's been on the ground for the last, today is the actual 30th day. It's the actual 1 month anniversary of the butchering and people are talking about ceasefires. And this raid on Israel would be equivalent to us in the U.S. 54,000 people and 7,000 civilians being taken hostage. So don't talk to me about occupation. The Palestinians were given the land by Israel in 2005. They have not occupied it from that first day that Ariel Sharon gave them the land. The Palestinians were firing rockets. They chose Hamas as their government, and the ceasefire was October 6th, and Hamas decided to end it. And the hashtags I've been using have been free Palestine from Hamas. I believe in freeing Palestine, but Palestine hasn't been invaded by Hamas, and Hamas is butchering them. And Hamas is, you know, if you don't follow mainstream media and you actually read the real news that's available, and you see how these butchers have treated human beings, putting children in ovens, and what they've done family members. I know this is a family show, but you know, dismembering them in front of each other, gouging out eyes, burning, unrecognizable. There's 200 plus civilians that are damaged beyond recognition. You can see on my Instagram that the families can't identify them records. So we pray for Israel. We pray for all of the citizens that are hostage. We pray for all of the Americans that are hostage. So, Mark, I know you've been following the story very closely since you got out of there by the grace of God. I know Israel is near and dear to your heart, as it is to mine. What have you heard, and what do we need to be aware of? And what do you think about these ridiculous calls for us to have a ceasefire? What do you think about the numbers of so-called Palestinian supporters? Is this real? Is this George Soros funded? What's going on here? And do we need concerned in America, and what do we need to do to protect ourselves?
So first of all, thank you so much for having me back on the show today. But what you hear on mainstream media is, you know, just what they want you to hear, and just kind of their agendas, and that they're trying to put out to get support behind them. Matter of fact, my wife had sent me a video, or was watching a video yesterday, and she said the same videos that she was watching look like some of the same supporters and things that we had seen 2 or 3 years ago right here in the United States. She said all of those activists and everything looked almost identical to what they were doing. And I really believe there's agenda behind that. As far as Israel, matter of fact, the man we went with, Randy Caldwell, I visited with him yesterday, and he will be spending some time with me actually this weekend here in Oklahoma, and we're going to visit some more about it. But I think the calls for ceasefire now are trying to find votes, and it's probably a little bit too little, too late for a ceasefire. You're not going to see it. Israel is going to take that land back, and I really have no doubt in my mind that they will take that back, and they will. Matter of fact, they even mentioned today that their plans are to own Gaza and you know, run the security there, and they'll probably let Palestinians move back. And here's the real truth behind that, and even their northern border with Hezbollah and Hamas come in there, and they didn't allow those people to make a choice for them to be their government. They forced their way in, and they took over that property. And I'm sad for Israel. I'm sad for Palestine. Palestinian people got in the middle of that, and Hamas just flat didn't give them a choice. They took over that land, and Israel's going to take it back. Israel gave them that land. Israel gave them electricity.
They actually didn't build their own generators. They didn't build their own water treatment systems. No. They're dependent. The only thing they've done is they've destroyed the water pipelines that were there and built rockets out of those. And so when you manipulate children from an early age in the cartoons and brainwash the children, I was watching videos last night of 5-year-old kids that were loading and shooting and getting shot at. So this is something inbred in them from an early age. So certainly they can be saved. Certainly, in fact, one of the children of Hamas's leaders came to faith. Has come to faith.
Wow.
He didn't call himself a Christian, but I shared it on my Instagram feed. And watch my Instagram feed because I'm following two of Israel's top journalists that are sharing the stuff that the mainstream media is not sharing on what's really going on, including alluding to what you said when your wife said, "Boy, these videos of this marching." I mean, I think I've seen it before when Adobe was criticized because of some of images that they said were Getty images weren't Getty images. They were AI manufactured images of children in Palestine. So you just gotta, you've got to confirm, right, on both sides. So we're really excited here today to have some amazing people here. And we've got Jeff Pomeroy is here, and Jeff and I have been friends for a long time. He's from Oregon. And by the way, if you've ever wanted to option your book for a movie or adapt your book for a movie or film, stick around because my next guests that are coming up, we've got Simon and we've got Sean here today. They're going to talk to us a little bit about that. They've adapted books to movies, been very successful at it, had a great run in Hollywood, batting a on that. But it's a big election day for a lot of people. Jeff, you and your wife I've known for a long time from Portland, Oregon. You guys relocated last year, I think, to Wyoming. You're very involved in the GOP party at a grassroots level. And it's a big election day in America. A lot of people don't realize there's voting in Kentucky, there's voting in Virginia, there's a lot going on. Thanks for being with us on the Michael D Show, where we talk about faith, family, culture, and business. Drop it in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, and let us know any questions you have. So Jeff, welcome to the show. How can people, there's a lot of frustration. A lot of people say, hey, there was voter, indiscretions. Safe and secure was our voting last time. And we're already starting to vote again. Jeff, have you addressed any of this? And what can people do at a local level? What have you and your wife done at a local level to ensure that every vote counts?
Well, those are all good questions. And, we came out to Wyoming actually about 2 years ago, as of a week ago. So we've been here, and it's been a great experience. But when we got out here, we also realized that voting is not enough. So we decided to get involved and encourage people around the country this year and going into the 2024 election to do more than vote. You're going to have to get involved in order to make a difference. And part of what's happening today, people are going to not just be ballot watchers, but people watching the ballot boxes, the ones that are standalone somewhere. And people are stuffing these ballots. And
so I saw a video yesterday in Delaware. Ladies were stuffing ballots into, and then Mark Zuckerberg spent $400 million to do these drop boxes. So I was living in Dallas during the 22. I've never received a absentee ballot in the mail. I've never requested one. I received 6 absentee ballots in the mail. And I didn't fill them out because I went and voted in person like I always do. Jeff, what's going on and what can we do at a grassroots level? You and your wife are doing knocking doors. Or you, what are you doing to make a difference?
Well, people can knock doors, and that makes a big difference, especially in a rural state like Wyoming, where people connect with people. Every state's going to be a little bit different. I encourage people to get involved with their local GOP party and be involved. Go to the meeting.
Democrat Party, if they're blue, right? I mean, we got to have a fair fight. There's nothing that makes you stronger than having a good fight. So bring it all on.
But if you're part of the Democrat Party, feel free to stay at home anyway in your basement.
Well. I think there's a Republican in prison right now because he put a meme out saying if you're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, you can just text here, right? And so they actually locked him up for a couple years. Seriously, that happened. And so, listen, we're going to be checking in with you from time to time because we kind of want, we like hearing from you or Dan Snell to give us an update on what we can do. And when I moved to Texas, I was in Texas for 4 years, then in Oklahoma the last couple, but moved back to Texas. And I said, what can I do to get involved? Because I think sometimes we take it for granted that voting is enough, praying for our leaders is enough. And I think there's a lot we can do at you and I were talking this morning. My government teacher in high school was the football coach. And that's the way it is a lot of time. He wasn't even registered to vote. And for an entire year, he never opened the textbook. And if it wasn't for Schoolhouse Rock and I'm just a bill, yeah, I'm only a bill, I wouldn't know about Capitol Hill and about the 3 branches of government. And fortunately, to myself, I learned what was going on because when I was 12, I wrote Ronald Reagan a letter congratulating him on his win, and he wrote me back. And I'm like, wow, I may get involved in politics. And so I was really fascinated with how the whole process worked. And you and I talked about this because you're a business owner. You've ran a trucking company and now a company brokerage service for years. Overregulation kills small business. Speak to 60 seconds to that. And then we're going to talk about turning your book into a movie. Now, here's what I want you to do, friends. I want you to share this wherever you're watching live right now. Share it on your social media. We got 2 gentlemen from Hollywood. They're going to tell us to turn our book into a movie. Share it out. Jeff, the last 60 seconds. Are we done with free and fair elections? Are we still using Dominion software? And why haven't the Republicans changed any laws? Or is it up to the states to decide? What's going on? 60 seconds.
Well, it's really going to be up to the states and the people in the states. It's no different here in Wyoming. Again, get involved, go to a meeting. That's how it started for us. We went to a meeting and then started to get involved, got elected to represent the county here for the GOP. And one step after another, you've got to get involved and do more. It doesn't matter what part it is. Maybe it's knocking doors. Maybe it's watching ballot boxes. Or maybe it's getting involved with the local GOP. But action versus just words, voting's not going to be enough in this next election. There's going to be more dirty schemes and underhanded with the election coming forth, and we've already seen it, like you just said earlier. It's happening. So more people that are involved and more eyes that are on what's happening during the election, it's going to be harder for them to cover it up.
Well, I tell you what, we can definitely make a difference. We want to check in with you next week. We want to talk about legal ballot harvesting. Can it be done legally? If so, how? And when do we need to get started? But if you've got a book you're wanting to get adapted to a movie, this is the right place to be. I met a lady in Florida recently who's changing the world with her nonprofit. And, some people, when they have tragedy happen to them, they fold up and they quit. And she had a very tragic event happen. She's a very articulate speaker, very gracious Southern belle that's done amazing things with her life. Adina B. Payton. Adina, it's great to have you here. Welcome to the Michael D. Show. What's your story, please?
Thank you. It's exciting to be here, and I appreciate the other folks that shared. New York Marathon was the best marathon, but I had a son when I was very young, and he suffered with drugs and alcohol, as I did earlier in my life. And as his life progressed, he was able to get sober and build a plumbing company, get married, have a family. But, the demon came back, and he was making hand over fist money. And instead of recovery, he put his efforts into trying to take care of his family. And so on November 17th of 2020, he left my house after I made him leave. He walked down 3 blocks, crawled up on top of Ted's barbecue, and proceeded to have a 3.5-hour conversation with the Huntsville Police Department. They were able to talk him down, but the takedown went bad, and he was shot 16 times. So what happened after that, from a personal level, is I was shut down completely by the entire community, which, as a Republican who was a professor at 2 colleges, working for the Department of Defense, a Sunday school teacher and an AA member, I was stunned that this was happening in Huntsville. And so all I needed to do was fight for my son. And so I raised money on Facebook and I put billboards up all over town that said Justice for Brad. Well, as it played out, I went to DC, I marched. I had never marched. That was like bad people that did that, and and I had to worry. I had a security clearance. So as it started playing out, it was about to kill me. And I had taught an African prince in the military, and he's from Dallas. He flew to Huntsville and he said, "You're going to have to stop fighting. You're going to start a nonprofit, and I'm going to do your logo from Africa." And I said, "I don't even check my office email. I can assure you I'm not starting a nonprofit. I don't want to do anything." Well, somehow, through God's grace, one little step at a time, it took hold. And he said, "Adina, the blood will avenge itself. You're a light giver and you have to keep loving people." And all I did was just have enough faith in him that he knew what was going on to keep going. And God would just give me enough throughout this situation. A lot of things were changing politically. And I knew that I was never able to see what happened. But because of these efforts and the nonprofit starting, we've been able to partner with the police, with the fire, I guess, firemen. So we've got law enforcement, firemen, the ambulance folks, and the 911 callers. Because about 9 months in, I was sitting at a red light and I realized what they see. Like God gave me the vision of what those 7 officers saw the night.
So here you are, a grieving mother. You lose your son. You're the victim. He with alcoholism and mental health, and he gets shot 16 times. That's excessive force. And the local media really doesn't have any sympathy for your family, and you're getting hit in the media and you're grieving. And out of that, you start a nonprofit where you're seeing your pain into these first responders because they're having daily PTSD and nobody's helping them with these issues. And you've created this beautiful nonprofit. Now you're writing an amazing book. We're definitely going to have you back. I've got your website up. How do you say this .org?
Just Grammy. It's getting real about mental illness. We couldn't get the right, the best URL. So it's GrammyUS.org.
GrammyUS.org. There you go. GrammyUS.org. And you've done a lot of TV. You've done a lot of speaking. You got to interview. Who'd you interview the other day? Some famous.
Nick Saban.
That's
Saban.
The real famous. King of the
real famous one. Oh, that was Paul Feinbaum. Yeah.
Hey, I want you to stick around because these next gentlemen we're bringing up help people get their book into the theaters, into the film adaptation. So I'm going to Sean Kuhn. So thanks for being with us, Adina. Sean Kuhn, you're here. We've been friends for a long time. You've been in the book business. You've had bookstores all over America. I met you in New York. I want you to introduce your guest, and you guys do an amazing webinar that I watched recently, how you help authors book adapted for film and television. So welcome to Michael D, Sean.
Well, thank you for having me, Michael. Most of you might think that I'm Michael's older, less good-looking brother, but I'm not. And but I appreciate all the work that Michael does with authors in bringing their message to the printed word. And what Stephen and I have been doing with authors is taking that book that I and that.
Hey, you're cutting out just a little bit, John. I think you're in the matrix, so I'm going to help you do the intro for for you
is
and Simon. So you may be having a bandwidth issue there. So we'll see if that bandwidth issue improves. Wow, it's great to have our other ladies, Pitter and Dee, here. Wow, really great lineup today on the Michael D Show. We've heard from New York. We're about to hear from Israel. But Stephen, I want to bring you in. Sean kind of got caught in the matrix there a little bit. You've been getting books optioned for movies, or I won't even say option because that's a bad thing, right? You taught me. Simon, welcome to the show. You've done some amazing things in your career. You've worked with Cuba Gooding Jr. You've worked with some amazing artists. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the Michael D Show. And I want to say Tom Cruise has got a debt of gratitude to you. And so welcome to Michael D Show. What's, the pandemic, a lot of people thought killed publishing. It didn't. Readership is up. And the consumption of movies are up, but not in theaters. People don't want to get shot and they don't want to get COVID, but movie consumption is up. So welcome to the Michael D Show. And so glad to have you here today, Stephen and Sean. Maybe we can hear you now, Sean.
Okay, thank you. I went in and out on the Wi-Fi where my wife and I are at the Outer Banks for our 35th anniversary. So I'm sorry I'm not in my home studio. All right.
We're glad you're here, man. You're a man on a mission and your passion. So happy anniversary to you and Susie Q. Wishing you the best.
All right. It is, again, as Michael mentioned, there are so many new outlets for movies, for film, through streaming, and the opportunities are amazing. And just like you see in publishing, there are some schlocky books, and then there are some great books from beyond publishing, and then there are also you can tell that there are some screenplays that are made to movies. They're just, who funded this? And so there is a demand for good, strong screenplays made to movies that have a great message. And so now I'm going to let Stephen hop in here and talk to us.
Yeah. Welcome, Stephen. Hopefully you're not in the matrix. Welcome. Good to have you here. I'll introduce you while you're getting queued up. I'm gonna introduce Stephen because I'm so excited for you to meet him, and I'm so excited for you to meet Sean. You know what Stephen's been able to do over the years is he's worked with. Stephen's first film was Smokey and the Bandit. Anybody ever seen Smokey and the Electric Horseman, The Goodbye Girls? And so he's most famously known for personally developing and producing films like Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeves and Jane Seymour. All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise. That movie put Tom Cruise on the map. Nobody knew Tom Cruise until Steven Simple and All the Right Moves happened. The Academy Award winning What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr. And he's here to help us because he's batting 1,000 on books to film. And Stephen, we're glad you're here. Sean, I interviewed Stephen the other day, and I'm going to with everybody so that they can see it was a great interview, and we had a great time talking about what they're going to learn in this webinar. And they can go to booktomovie.org to sign up. We've had a lot of people sign up. It's going to be next Thursday on the 16th. What are some of the things they're going to learn? Are going to learn about adapting their book to a film?
Well, one of the big things is you and I know authors that we call pantsers. They write by the seat of their pants, and that really works well for books. And I have a friend who's a New York Times bestselling author, and she'll say to me, and she's writing a series, and she'll say, that character started doing something in book 2 that they're not supposed to do until book 3. Well, that's not what happens in a screenplay. In a screenplay, we need to write an outline. We need to know where that screenplay is going. And that is very important. And our methodology goes back to the ancient Greek tragedies, 3-act play, 3 acts, the build-up, the crisis, and the resolution.
Outstanding, outstanding. So you're gonna get some practical and tactical things.
So that's what we get to help
book,
people do.
to adapt your book to a
And I
screenplay
think
and a
I'm
film.
gone.
Okay. It's great to have you here, and we're going to have you back, Sean. We're going to have you and Simon back. And I got to say, exciting things. And I'm so glad on the Michael D Show when I get to interview people on live TV. Two of my favorite Southern belles are here, Adina Payton in Alabama, and Pitter Pat Atlanta, Georgia. So Pitter, she's my famous photograph. You see my famous photographs from all over New York City. That's Pitter. How you doing today, Pitter?
I'm doing amazing here in Atlanta. It's a beautiful weather. I think it might be almost pushing the 80 mark. So it's beautiful today. I love it. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. You know, surrounding myself with creatives, I realized for years, because I'm that creative kid that got started in the movie business at age 11 on my parents' farm, where my cows, I was directing the cows, my German shepherd and my brother. And even when we cut to commercial, I was doing all the commercial segues and marketing. So, you know, I had it in my blood back then, but you did a pretty cool photo shoot yesterday at a cotton gin. Give us a picture, because you don't have a normal life. You don't work in a cubicle somewhere. Give us a little picture of what your day was like yesterday.
So yesterday, believe it or not, I wish I could have had the pictures up. It was probably about so they told me, so, you know, there's cotton gins. They're not, my Uncle Bo actually had one of the cotton gins in Arkansas, and he was friends with Sam Walton. And so that kind of, you know, that's a dying breed, as you would say. And there's in Bostwick, Georgia. So if you guys look up Bostwick, Georgia, there's nothing there but a cotton gin, and there's cotton fields everywhere. Well, it happened to be Appalachia. And I wish I could pull up some pictures of yesterday. It was probably something off of a movie set. You know, we're talking about movies. Let's go there. And it was just magnificent to see this, the trees, the leaves, and acres. I'm talking acres of cotton. And it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. Yes, and so I sent Michael this. I'm like, look at this. I'm like, this is insane. But it looks like something off of a movie, and with no filter.
No filter whatsoever. That's awesome. I'm glad you're here, and I know you're around creative people all the time. And what I've learned about creative people is sometimes they're very creative, and sometimes they have to depend on others or depend on the other half of their brain to generate revenue. So I learned very quickly in my early years, being a single father of 4, how to generate multiple income streams for the sake of survival. But, you know, when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you realize that once food and shelter are covered, you can start being creative again. And so I love being creative. And here in a minute, I'm going to share a segment about an amazing woman who changed America. And most people on this call might not. I'm going to guess 2 people know who. And it's from my book, Finding the Speaker's Edge. And we just uploaded the 2nd edition version just in time for the holidays for your stocking stuffers, for anybody that wants to turn their part-time passion into a full-time speaking career, speaking from stage and speaking online. And one reason I've decided to stream every Tuesday like this is we have a blast streaming, featuring authors, featuring author events. You know, author events, a lot of people thought the internet killed publishing, but readership is up globally, and the pandemic added kerosene to readership globally. And speaking of kerosene and readership, we got Dee Collins back in the house from Tucson, Arizona. How you doing? You know, I almost mentioned Arizona earlier in the broadcast when we were talking about the Gaza Strip. And I said, if a portion of Arizona started firing rockets at the rest of Arizona and the rest of America and came in and butchered 1,400 of our civilians, women and children, that portion, that annexation of Arizona would have a problem because we'd begin to prosecute the murderers. And I just singled out Arizona just as a case in point because Israel's about the size of New Jersey, right? So it's not even as big as Arizona. So I said all that to make a point. I don't believe Israel occupied Palestine. And my beef with Hamas is they're murderers. And my hashtag is free Palestine from Hamas because the people of Palestine were given their liberation and freedom, which they never tried to become a country. A two-state solution will not work because they do not want a solution that was offered before. That was called the Gaza Strip. It says in the Hamas charter that their number one purpose is to destroy Israel off the face of the map. And the saying that you heard chanted all over the world Saturday was from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. That is for the genocide entire Jewish population of the world, all 9 million. That's their goal in their charter. So empathizing with Palestinian people who are suffering in the Gaza Strip is one thing. I definitely want them to be safe. I want them out of there. I want them. Nobody is targeting them. And I can assure you that Israel, they're trying to get them the heck out of there. But the Hamas leadership is not allowing them to exit. And so we could go deeper into that. It is something I'm very passionate about. And since it's the Michael D Show, it's something I love to share. But I'm talking about authors doing amazing events. And, my authors that are selling the most books are the authors that are, and sometimes an author will write a book and then they'll be like, oh, dang, I poured my heart and soul into this book for the last 12 months. I'm sick of it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But D, that's the time they should start talking. And you've got an amazing event coming up. So introduce what's coming up. And then what have you found for authors and marketing authors, promoting authors?
Absolutely.
That's
First of all,
yes.
Hello to everyone. Thank you for having me on the Michael D TV show with faith, family, culture, and business. I'm Dee Collins, super excited to be here. I want to share with you an event that's coming up. And one of the reasons I'm excited is not only because I'm an author, but because Michael D is going to be co-hosting with me. And this is going to be the Easy Way Authors Pitch Party. We're having a pitch party where you can come and share your book with the world, with like-minded professionals, and you can register for this event for free. And you can actually, if you do the free registration, you can come on and have 30 seconds on stage to do a commercial for your book. But it's not just for authors. It's for people who have services that they provide to authors. So, for instance, if you do author events, if you provide ghostwriting services, if you are a publisher, and Michael D. Butler and Beyond Publishing is going to be offering their publishing services during this event. But if you do photography, anything that an author might need, speak from stage, whatever it may be, we want you to come and be with us on this event. So that's going to be November the 24th, which is Black Friday. The day after Thanksgiving is going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And the link that I have that you can't see, but I'll put it later in the comments on the broadcast, but you can go to bit.ly, which is bit.ly /authors pitch party. So it's bit.ly /authors pitch party. Thank you for having me, Michael D.
Hey, it's great to have you, D. Speaking of D, hey, we got that in common, D.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle, Michael D. Butler.
and I've got the link up here. The bit.ly /authors pitch.
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. But also, I wanted to not only give a shout out to everybody, but I wanted to say, Peter, I used to live right next to a cotton field. We grow cotton out here in Arizona as well. So the outskirts of Tucson and Marana. So I would see all of that beautiful cotton and at the harvest time. And I thought it was really interesting because I know some farmers, and I found out that they actually take the seeds from the cotton and then they send it to the other side of the world because the seasons are reversed. So we can send our seeds over there and then they can begin to plant when we are getting the harvest.
I love it.
Epic. Well, I got to say I have actually got some cotton growing by my house in San Antonio. So I drove by the other day. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's a cotton field. I was going to stop and do a video, and maybe I can if it's not already dead, but that's incredible. I never would have known Tucson, Arizona was growing cotton, but I guess if you can do it in South Texas, you can do it in Tucson, Arizona. You know, I love things like that. I love it. It's epic. But I was going to tell you the story about me changing my middle name. So my middle name is Dean, which means from the field of Deans. It has no meaning. And so when I was in Israel in 2019, I changed my middle name to David. And for those of you that know me or have heard me say, because when I would say to somebody on the phone, they say, what's your name? And I would say, Michael Dean Butler. They'd say, what's your middle name? And I'd say, D like David. And I'd said it for years, D as in David. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm in the city of David. I'm surrounded by the city that David built. I'm going to change my name from Michael Dean to Michael David. And the reason I added the D is because there used to be a website called howmanyofme.com. And you could go there and see how many of you there are. And there were 613 Michael Butlers. And when you're trying to stand out as an author, speaker, and a subject matter expert, you want to be different. And there were 613 Michael Butlers. And my oldest son, I made him 614. So Michael D. Butler Jr. And so I got that D. So Michael David Butler. That's where you're going to find me. So check out Dee's. She put the link in the chat. And for those of you that are watching, go check it out. Join us for the pitch party. It's going to be a blast. And you're going to want to come to booktomovie.org, and you're going to want to sign up for the pitch party as well, because we have so many author resources everywhere all day long. Well, I've invited my Tel Aviv journalist, Osnat, who we've been friends. I met her in 2019. She was taking me to the Knesset to meet some of the members of the Knesset, which is Congress for Israel. And she may be in the bomb shelter because, as you know, we had her here a few weeks ago, and she was 45 minutes late. She was going to come on at 15 after the hour. She came on at the top of the hour because literally she sent us a video of her and her son going to the bomb shelter. She still works for the Israeli government, and she's flying to the U.S. in about a week and a half, and she's on the list to get heck out of Israel. So pray for Israel. Pray for the safety. We've never seen anti-Semitism this high. We're seeing isolated incidents. Like yesterday, there was an elderly gentleman. I saw it on my Instagram. Follow the two people I follow that are Israeli general. In fact, I'm going to see if I can share my screen and pull up my Instagram. Because Pastor Mark was just here. He and I and Osnat are part of a journalist group in Israel. We get live real-time feeds. And these aren't things that you're going to want to see with in the room, because it's not edited or anything. And I'm really glad that Gal Gadot, the one that played Wonder Woman, she's Israeli, and she's going to be featuring, doing a screening of the Hamas murders, butchering of October 7th, because already liberal media is trying to rewrite history. And so I will always stand for Israel. I will stand with Israel. And I was glad to see that the UN, the ambassador to the UN from Israel is wearing a yellow star, he and his staff. And I think the United Nations is a joke. We should ban them from the United States. We should revoke every terrorist regime's visa, should not be allowed. Why would you let the Iranian regime be a part of the Human Rights Council? Why would you give the Iranian regime $6 billion when you know they're funding terrorism? Why would you come in as the president of the United States and give $100 million to Hamas, thinking that you're helping the Palestinian people, knowing dang well that it's going to go to create missiles to fire at Israel? Anyway, the commander-in-chief is incompetent, and that's how I feel about it. So there you have it. That's why we call it business culture. And, it's the Michael D show. So anyway, I don't see my friend coming in. Oh, you got your shofar, D? You got your shofar? You going to blow that thing for us? Give that a good blow. I can show you on my Instagram. I love that. I took one recently to Pakistan on my last trip to Pakistan for our team over there, who started 220 churches, and the main worship leader requested one. So I got it. Hey guys, I'm really happy to bring to the stage today. Osnat is a part of the Tel Aviv government, and
Good evening, America. Good morning, America. For me, good evening.
Shalom. And we thought
Shalom.
we went back to the bomb shelter. It is 7 p.m. in Tel Aviv. You and your son are sleeping in your shoes and your clothes. How are you? Has the bombing persisted? I know your neighbor got hit. They have the Iron Dome, but sometimes things get through the Iron Dome. Was that coming from Hezbollah in Lebanon, or was that coming from Gaza that hit your neighborhood?
Well, the rocket is in Hezbollah. It's kind of more aggressive and more strong, but we're not scared because we have a good how do you say
You have
yes,
the Iron Dome missile defense
Iron
system.
Dome, yes, sorry. But it's not 100% cover. In Hamas, we give them a hard time because when they send 10 rockets for a minute, they can how you call it? Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
Iron Dome.
Iron Dome. I'm so sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Thank you. So sometimes it's false. So that's what we need to follow up all the rule that the government has from us to do. To go to the shadow, it's dangerous. 2 days ago, it was a big bombs. I was really scared. My son was crying, and I'm like, "Whoa!" I'm by myself. But the noise. It's because the whole zone is explosive. Okay, but we need to be careful because we need to stay 10 minutes in the bunker, and then we can go out.
Okay, so
Basically.
sometimes in the middle of the night, you have to get up and go down in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah, I'm sleeping with my shoes. Sorry.
So you're sleeping with your shoes. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
because if I go with shoes like that with flipper, I can break my leg, because I live third floor.
So Osnat, question. In the
Please.
US media, we're not hearing anything about the hostages. Are you hearing anything from the Israeli government, from Bibi Netanyahu, the Knesset? Is there any hope that any of these other hostages will be released and be alive?
You know the Bible, right? There's a words in the Bible. I will go to the Bible, and then I will go to the update what's going on in Gaza. Okay, the last news like 5 minutes ago, and I am also a journalist, so I know everything fast. In the Bible, you say in a trick you do the wall. Okay, so we're doing really good underground. We already we don't have so much rocket the last 3 days, which is we do, but not in Tel Aviv. In Tel Aviv was 2 days ago, in Ramat Gan, surround Tel Aviv, but not like before, because the ADF go inside and explode. It's amazing where did they find the rocket? When you send your daughter to the kindergarten, can you hear me?
Yes,
You guys?
yes. Yeah, we can hear you. We're still here.
Thank you. When you send you guys send your kids to the school or to the kindergarten, they put rocket there because they know the Israeli army will never do that. Or
So
basically,
you sent a video this morning in the chat, and we just had Pastor Mark here giving an update that you met a few weeks ago here, who's a part of that thread that you added, he and I too. And I'm seeing these 4 or 5-year-old kids launching rockets from Gaza, and explaining, because I've known for 15 years and we've seen this propaganda and educated ourselves. This is what's going on with Hamas is brainwashing the Palestinian children, are brainwashing that Israel is Satan and the U.S. is the great Satan. How many of you this morning, an hour ago, saw the families of the hostages testifying on Capitol Hill to Congress? It was heartbreaking.
Basically, I was there like in the morning. Like I go took a few pictures and interview. I'm going every day. So if you guys wanna be in a Zoom to sometime this week, I can go and I can show you live. This is one. Now I'm going back to Michael to Gaza. Look, I don't call them Hamas. This is no Hamas. This is ISIS. ISIS it's the fundamentalist Islamistic because you Christian and I'm Jewish and all of us we don't going to the right for them because we eat pork and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of Jewish eating pork, and for them it's like the worst. And look, right there, look.
Television.
Yeah. Okay.
So I want to close with this because we're almost to the top of the hour. Osnat, we're so glad. Thank you for joining us.
No,
the main thing I heard you. Okay, close with your thought.
Yes, please. I want you guys to know that my friend is in Mossad. Okay, you know Mossad, of course.
So
You know,
Mossad is like special forces for Israel. IDF special forces is Mossad. Go ahead.
CIA, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta be careful. You know, be careful in America because there's a lot of terrorists sleeping. Yesterday, Jewish guy in LA, and
I showed the video. In fact, I'm going to show the
some pro-Palestinian.
Let me share. That's exactly where I wanted to go with this because Americans, we are naive if we think we're not about to get hit because you just heard the families of the October 7th survivors from Israel this morning say what I've been saying since October 7th is it's here. It's not coming to America. It's in America. And you need to be careful. Your family needs to be prepared. You need to be prepared. You need to talk about these things. You need to have a plan of action. And I'm going to share my screen because I want everybody following me on Instagram because I found a way to be a journalist without overwhelming 90% of my followers that aren't interested in getting every Israeli post. But for those of you that are, here's how you follow me. Let me share my screen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Let me know. And I'll come back to you, Osnat. Can you guys see my screen now? Let me know.
Not yet.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, this is my Instagram. When you go to my Instagram, and I'm going to put the link in the chat, I've got this first tab here. This is Pray for Israel. On this tab, I have every story that I've been curating, and I'm not yeah, it's going to show hundreds of stories from day one, from October 7th, that I began to curate, and you've seen many of these. And most of these are very graphic, but the main thing is I share these from journalists. I share them from Osnat. Pamela Geller is the main one you want to follow. You want to follow her, and you want to follow Noah Tishby, who's been on Fox Business, Fox News a lot. She's one of the good people. New York Times gave her kudos the other day because she's speaking the truth from Israel. These are some of the most troubling images. These are some of the most troubling things we're seeing and hearing. For those of you that understand biblical prophecy, end times, parents of terrorists celebrating. I mean, here's what I want to show you. I want to show you the last one from yesterday. Here's Hamas's leader who they said he became a Christian. He says, no, I'm not a Christian, but I'm embracing the principles of Christianity. And here's why. So he left radical Islam to embrace Christianity. Noah Tishby, Pamela Geller. I mean, this is real life stuff as they're rolling into Sderot. This is an amazing, incredible story. Doctor, she's 23, she's 22, she's singing, she's carrying and patience until her last breath. And she's on the phone with her parents as they hear Hamas come in the medical clinic as she's saving lives. So these are amazing stories. This is the people of Gaza, the TV monitors in an open air theater style the morning of October 7th as they're watching the atrocities stream real time on their GoPro lives. And here's a beautiful wedding proposal. There have been more weddings in the last month because the Israeli people are all about family. They're all protecting the heritage. And that's all I have there for right now. But I just wanted to share this with you. Don't stick your head in the sand. I mean, look, this is Israel. This tiny little piece of land is Israel. Israel is not occupying anything. And I want to close out with this song. I'm going to close out with it.
You raise me up to walk on stormy sea. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Raise me.
Very powerful, very powerful. We're living in some extreme times, and extreme times require extreme measures. And so, Osnat, I know it's been very troubling for you. You're still an active journalist and correspondent. You had to go to the northern border last week to cover the bombing and coming from Lebanon. And I know you were very afraid. Why don't you update us? You said something about having to go to the border. When do you have to go to Gaza?
Yeah, no, I didn't scared so much because all my life I grew up with the rackets. Okay, it's the first time since I've been know myself, and we know that there wasn't a kind of scene that there will be terrorists that will come to your house. But we still in we like in aftershock right now, okay? And when I saw these houses with all destroyed, everything destroyed, you will still the blood, and I couldn't believe that. I couldn't take it. It was really hard for me. And there was a lot of movies, and I will send it to you in the WhatsApp if you want. It's very hard to see it. They will see any part in the body of baby. They took the baby and they took a knife and they make sure that they are like a chicken. I mean, this is more than barbar. It's very, very dangerous for all the human. We fight now for all of you guys. You gotta understand that, because the fundamentalists and ISIS,
America, it's here. It's
what?
everywhere. So we have to be wise. It's here. It's everywhere.
Yes.
And I would admonish you to pray, get a plan, get with your kids. If they're on a college campus, have a plan. If your kids, if your family, if your friends are Jewish, but listen, they hate Christians as much as they hate Jews. Israel's Satan. We are the great Satan. They want to wipe out Jews, all Christians, all Western culture. And I want to close on a positive note. We will win. All it takes for evil to triumph is for good men and women to do nothing. And everybody is on this call today. I'll let you say one final word before I read my page. Go ahead, Ozzy.
Yeah. I sent you a little part of the Bible yesterday. Did you read it?
You did, and I loved it because last week I saw this. I knew the word
So
Hamas in the
it's
Bible.
amazing.
Where's the scripture reference in English?
It's in Hebrew. It's in Hebrew, but I will try to translate it to English. I didn't answer.
It's somewhere
Okay.
in the Old Testament where God says
It's reading the Hamas there. It's reading.
it's Israelis' history from the children of Israel. Was it like in Abraham's day or Moses' day, or it was back then? Yeah.
Michael, my friend, look, we move everything. Acquisition, the Holocaust, many pogrom, thousands. All the time we start, and we are God of people, and the Christian, they are brother and sister of us. That's it. This is the end of the, and of course, we're gonna win.
Hey, how
Because
many
right now,
Israelis?
yeah,
How many people are in Israel that want to get out but they cannot leave right now?
I know a story, and I would like if you put it in the social media. There's a few Israeli. They came to LA, and they didn't have enough money because we have only one airline, and they take double price. So they buy only one ticket, one way. So they came over there, and the American border patrol, they let them go home. I mean, what the hell is that? I mean, those guys come from the fire, from the old zone. I don't like that, you know.
Well,
So
they came from the war zone and they were sent home. So
they
we're going to
fought.
check
That
in later. I'm going to say, don't come to LA. LA is a war zone. LA is
is
like
the worst. Is the worst.
LA is like going to Gaza. LA is a third world country. I want to close with this story because I'm going to end on a positive note. And if you want more, just message me and we can add you to the journalist group. But I want to tell an amazing story. Speaking of LA, she was a woman who was a missionary when she was in her 20s in 1920. I think her and her husband Robert went to China to evangelize, and he died of a disease in 1920, and she had a baby. Her name was Amy. You may have heard the story of how Amy Simple McPherson became the first woman and the first person in America to start the first FM radio station in America called Radio America. She had the largest in the world in the 1920s. She had 20,000 people coming to hear her speak. 7 times a day, she filled up Angela's Temple in Los Angeles, Echo Park, Los Angeles. She had people like Marilyn Monroe, Ronald Reagan, and JFK coming to her. She was impacting the movie industry. She had people from Hollywood, directors, producers coming to get ideas for their sets because she was so creative. She would have her carpenters every week design elaborate sets because she wanted to preach the gospel in the language of the people. She wanted to bring the movie into the church so she could make the gospel understandable. And she was chastised by the media. She was ridiculed. She was, you think Trump derangement syndrome's bad. They persecuted her because she was a woman and preacher, and she was single, and she wore makeup. And God used her in a mighty way. And there are thousands of churches all over the world today preaching the Foursquare gospel as a result of Amy Simple McPherson and 2 Bible colleges and great pastors like Jack Hayford that have come out of that church. Amazing things for the kingdom. So don't ever give up on your dreams. Do not ever give up on your dreams. She had what was called the gospel car. And when her kids, 2 young kids, she would drive all night, set up the tent, preach. Thousands of people would get saved, healed, and delivered. And in the night when the wind would blow the tent over, she would sewing the tent back together. And she was an amazing woman. So whatever it is you're doing to make a difference, continue to make a difference because it makes a difference for somebody. Maybe it's sharing a post. Maybe it's an encouraging word. Maybe it's educating somebody that thinks Israel's occupying Palestine. Maybe it's educating a millennial that's been brainwashed by a liberal college that's trying to tell them that the Jews are the oppressors. It's time we speak up and we educate people. And I want to close this with this because November 28th, we're doing something very special. And we're going to stream for 3 or 4 hours. And I'm going to give you the link right now because I'm looking for people. I got a gift bag today. I went and put some things into the gift bag. And I'm looking for donations to the gift bag because the gift bag, coming from Texas, there's a nice little vase and got some things. And I got authors that are sending books and different things like that because November 28th is Giving Tuesday. You have Thanksgiving, you have Black Friday, then you have Small Business Saturday, then you've got Cyber Monday, and Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. And that's going to be a time we're going to feature some of the stories from 1040 Impact, our nonprofit that has rescued 394 girls from human trafficking. And I'm going to give you the link where you can sign up. And it's called mygivingtuesday.org. And I'm looking for people that can show up and speak a little. I'm looking for people that can send me a donation, and I'll give you more information this week. If you want more information, text me on how you can be a. You can make a donation to 1040 Impact, and you can help us make a difference in our 394 kids that we want to give them a great Christmas this year. Let them know how loved they are. They've all been orphaned, many of them trafficked. And so they're in a safe, loving environment in 4 safe houses in Pakistan. And we're going to feature other nonprofits. We want to feature Adina's nonprofit. If you know of a great nonprofit that we need to include, and if you've got something to say, if you got something to share, just message me. We'd like to get you added, but I'm going to close it out with this one here to get you a little more info. There it is.
NASDAQ and beyond, Michael D. Butler, global book publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org.
I don't celebrate birthdays. I just don't celebrate birthdays. My brother checked me out of school in third hour and took me to the DMV. Now, I'd studied hard for that test. I wanted to pass it. I wanted my freedom. And I was so proud. I came out and I had my picture, weighing 136 pounds, sophomore. Right there, I got my ticket to freedom. Me to the Pizza Hut, and we're eating pizza and we're celebrating, and I get to drive my car back to the school, and I get to drive my car home that day. We had planned it that way. I'll never forget when I was 7 years old, I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm going to live to be 120. And I think in my subconscious mind, I knew I needed that much time to redeem the root of bitterness and create what is called a root of blessing. My therapist said there's 2 things you need to do to reverse the curse of bitterness and create blessing in your family and to bring it back. And you need to forgive yourself and you need to celebrate. Well, I was good at forgiving myself because I had screwed up a lot and I forgave a lot. I said, I'm going to run a marathon this year. And Michael, Joshua, and Jeremiah, my 4 sons, they stepped out of the spectator area in the last 3 miles. They ran with me in 2008 and crossed that finish line with me. And as I told my sons, I said, sons, I am celebrating your birthday, but guess what? Next year, I'm celebrating my birthday on May the 10th, and all of you are invited. Celebrate with me. Thank you. Thank you, baby.
Changing lives in New York and NASDAQ and beyond, Michael D. Butler, global book publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org.
All right. All right. Well, listen, it was great having you join us today. Yeah. I want to hear a final word from everybody. So,
yes, we love you.
Well, we love you, and we're glad you're here. And it's
You're awesome. You know, it's the Holy Land. You know, we're talking from the. Oh, I want to show you something.
We love your shirt.
Would you like that I show you something nice from the Holy Land? Look.
Yeah.
Just a simple.
Beautiful.
This is. It's from the Holy Land, avocado, and it's from the guy. It's from the place where the terrorists come. It's they go up on the banana and this. So I bring it from there. I have them
well,
from the trees.
I got to tell you, I can make a good hummus, but when I was in Israel, I had great hummus every day. Falafel.
You should guys visit us. There's a lot of Arab. They've been very, very sad if we leave Israel, because Israel, like 75 years ago, exists. Thank God, we come back here. And we bring all the civilization here because it was like a camel here before,
It was a desert.
It was a desert.
Okay.
We bring all the civilization here.
Adina's got to go. Adina, it was great to have you. A closing word?
Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure. It's been a blessing. Thank you. I hope to see y'all soon.
Thanks, Adina. Pitter, it's great to have you. A final word from you, maybe?
Oh my gosh. you were spot on. My dad, before he passed away, literally was telling me everything that was going to come is here. And for people to understand here in America that it's already here in America, and do not turn a blind eye to what is going on. And a lot of people think because we are here, we're safe. You're not safe. And to be wise, have eyes in the back of your head, and be wise.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And be ready to meet the Lord, because you never know. And I believe in divine protection,
Yes.
but I also believe in packing heat and being prepared.
I'm
So,
packing heat.
I know you are. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Osnat. We
Thanks,
love you. We
Michael.
pray for Israel and Tel Aviv, and shalom. Shalom. Shalom.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye. Have a great day, friends.